Hi everyone, it's Dr. Brad Meyer from Stephen F. Austin State University, where I'm the Associate Professor of Percussion. My fourth tip for the TMEA Timpani Etude is to talk a little bit about stickings. Now, stickings have been written in the solo and are great, but I find that some of them are not as helpful as they could be if we slightly altered them. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of stickings that I use that are a little bit different than what's on the page, but feel free to talk with your teacher, your band director, your instructor, your private lesson instructor, whomever, to find stickings that work best for you. So for example, in measure 9, starting that with the left hand allows me to work my way down the drums rather than having a right hand lead and having these kind of quick shifting moments. So if I do it left hand lead, you'll see that it's nice and smooth. If I do it with a right hand lead, you're going to find that I have these really quick jerky moments to try to get to the lower drum with my right hand. And that would look and sound like this. Same thing applies to the next section at measure 11. So in this section, they've marked it with right hand lead going crossovers. Now what I've found is that this, in my opinion, works better with a left hand lead where we're crossing over like this. The reason why I've found that to be a little bit more beneficial is because with a right hand lead, we're doing a crossover that crosses over to 2 drums. So we're going from our 26 to our 32. If I start it with a right hand lead, then we're crossing over drums that are right next to each other, the 23 and the 26, and that allows my left hand to go down lower and let that be a little bit more easy. So let me show you what it looks like with the right hand lead, which I don't recommend. And now here's the left hand lead, which I do recommend. Another version of that is at measure 13. I find that the left hand works great and that we only have to add a little right from the C to the E at the end to get us ready. And so measure 13 for me, I play it like this with a left hand lead. And then finally, measure 14, I do those sextuplets right hand lead for the same reason that I did earlier, having that smaller crossover versus the bigger crossover like that. So that's just an example of a few stickings that I've modified from the original. Let's talk about another section that I think also has a great potential to have a sticking that can be more beneficial. So let's talk about measure 25 and 26. So instead of the right hand lead that's marked on the page, I'd actually recommend starting that left hand lead. So you go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, and then alternating there to the end of that small section. What this allows for is for my hands to stay unseparated, removing crossovers, and also just allowing for easier movement between drums. And that would look and sound like this with this left hand lead and a small double at the end of 25, looking and sounding like this. So stickings are very personal. There might be some things that you find that my stickings don't work for as well as they work for you, and that's totally fine. Stickings are one of those things where we want to adjust them based on what we do well, but also realize that there are some stickings that if we think about the logistics of them and how they move around the instrument can be a little bit more challenging, and we can make them a little bit more easy if we think a little bit outside the box. I hope that helps. Have a great day and axe some jacks.